Hello again, everyone. Ariel Helwani here in Dallas, Texas. Of course, we are here for the biggest week of the entire year. It's WrestleMania 38. 2 nights, WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. BT Sport box office. And how about this? The Queen here. In many people's eyes, the greatest of all time, right? They think that she is the face of women's wrestling. And of course, she has a massive match this weekend against the great Ronda Rousey. She's the one and only Charlotte Flair. Charlotte, nice to see you. Nice to meet you for the first time in person.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for doing this. A lot to talk to you about. I'm very excited about this. And I think you've probably been asked this week. The week's just getting started. But this place means a lot, right? You made history here 6 years ago. Coming back in another big match here, are you comparing, today's Charlotte Flair to 6 years ago? Like, do you find yourself thinking back to that historic event when you guys, fought for the women's title for the first time?
I am. I'm just as nervous, but it's a different kind of nervous. Because at WrestleMania 32, it was like, okay, this is the moment to show them that women's wrestling matters. And now that we've done that, and we've put such high expectations on ourselves, it's like, I don't know, like it can't go bad. Like it has to be that good. WrestleMania 32, I had no idea what I was doing. Like now I'm like, okay, walking in with a lot of confidence, but the nerves and the pressure and still feeling like, man, I gotta go out there and prove to them I'm Charlotte Flair. I still have that hunger.
When you say, I didn't know what I was doing, what do you mean by that?
I was so new to the business. When I won the Divas Championship from Nikki Bella, I just remember her always walking out and I was just like, man, she's such a star. Like, how do I get the wrestling part, I get the athletic, how to be athletic, but she was the full package and I didn't have that. I'm like, where do I put my hands? Do I woo then? No, please don't fall on my entrance. Do I look this way? Do I look that way? Every little detail I thought about, and now it's just, you just walk out there. The things that I worry about now aren't the things that I worried about then. I was trying to live up to the persona. Now I understand the character. And then I don't know, how do you become a star?
Do you recall the turning point for you when you started to believe that and understand how to become a star?
Well, when I won the title, so when I won the Divas Championship, I didn't feel ready. But when I won the inaugural Raw Women's Championship, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm ready for this. I didn't feel like the title owned me. I held the title, but I didn't, the title didn't make me, I made the title. I didn't feel that way with the Divas Championship.
It's interesting because I think you're known as one of those wrestlers who, when the lights are brightest, you perform. You will come through for the company. But I also heard you say recently that you still get very nervous, right? So sometimes the people who get nervous, they don't perform. How do the two mesh with each other? You still get very nervous, yet you always come through in the clutch.
I think it just boils down to preparation and I feel like this moment with Ronda is how I felt when I wrestled Asuka at WrestleMania 34. 32 was a big deal, but facing Asuka with her background and what she meant at the time and with the streak, and she had wrestled all over the world and her skill level, I was like, okay, Asuka's already Asuka. How do I prove to them that I'm on that level? And not that I have to prove to anyone walking into Saturday that I'm on that level, but it's Ronda Rousey. And she's known as the baddest woman on the planet, but I don't take away anything from what we've created here within the WWE. And I'm territorial of my throne, of my ring, and I want it to be, you hear Rousey versus Flair, it just sounds big. I want it to be that big. I want that moment to be that special. And the nerves going into that and owning that moment.
Right.
I don't want it to be oh, that was just a lot of hype, womp womp.
Right.
Man, that lived up to all the hype and more.
How have you felt about the build to this match?
It's been very physical. Like the one thing that we do the best is, I think, hit each other. Like Survivor Series, how I felt at Survivor Series is completely different than how I feel now. Like I had nothing to lose at Survivor Series. I was thrown into a match that I wasn't supposed to be in. It was last minute, no storyline. We had 2 days, and I'm like, I'm wrestling one of my dream opponents with no storyline, and I'm not the girl that they want to see face her. So I went in there and I was like, all right, how do you prove that you're irreplaceable? And then that match went so well, I'm like, okay, how do we build off of that? And it's what, is it 3 years later?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And to be clear, you're not talking about the recent Survivor Series. You're talking about when you went up against Ronda.
When I went up against Ronda at Survivor Series before WrestleMania 35. So how do you build off of what we created? Like that was just a random match. Like no story, but people were so invested in it. Like when it started. So how do I outdo that match? It's kind of more how I look at it.
How do you think she has progressed as a wrestler, taken to it, coming from obviously judo to MMA to now pro wrestling?
Well, the one thing that Ronda has that I don't know if it naturally comes to all women is instinct. And maybe that's because she is a legitimate fighter or a background, but she gets things faster than most. And that's because she has, I guess, all the experience and knows what it's like to be like punched in the face or hit. And no, I think especially coming off having a baby and coming back, like I don't expect anything less than what she's already done before.
I think there was a time, maybe 20 or so years ago, where it's like you had to choose. You're either going to be a mom, family person, or a pro wrestler. Now we're seeing a lot of people do both, right?
Yeah.
Ronda, Becky, etc. Has this changed your stance? Like, do you want this as well? Or are you so focused on your career that...
No, I want babies.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm such a planner. Like, I know things you can't, like, all the time. But, yeah, seeing Ronda and Becky both with a family on the road, it's very, not inspiring, but, like, you can have it all as a woman in this industry. And they're showing everyone that.
Is there a part of you that's afraid to maybe take that break? Because that's what I would imagine, right? Everyone has to...
Yeah, I guess it's like, well, when is the right time to take the break? When's the right time to leave? But I still want to do this. It's just, yeah, I've been on top since 2015. Not necessarily like good, bad, or indifferent storylines. Right. But yeah, I want all of that.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you just recently caught a bouquet, right, at a wedding?
I did. I think that was a little...
Do you think that was...
a little iffy. I think that was a little planned.
Oh, really?
I think Roosh planned that.
Wow. To put a little pressure on you, or what? Okay.
Well, we have a date.
Oh, you do?
We have a date.
Congrats.
Thank you.
What is I just want to make sure my calendar is clear. I don't know if I make the cut. I didn't get the save the date yet.
It's this summer.
Oh, wow.
In Mexico.
That's soon.
Yep.
Summer's like in 3 months.
Yep.
Wow.
I have my dress.
Yeah, okay, wow. Mazel tov,
Thank
as
you.
people say. That's exciting.
Yep.
Okay, so things
You're making me turn red.
I'm sorry. I mean, I wasn't going to, you said the date. I think that's great. I think that's amazing. So maybe some time off then?
Who knows?
Okay.
Well, you're acting like I'm going to lose the title at WrestleMania.
You don't have to. You don't have to lose the belt to take some time off, right? You're the champ. You get to do whatever you want.
I think Manny would be a little angry if I walked down the aisle with my title.
Well, you could keep it in the hotel room.
He was like, "Mommy, for the wedding, I do not want your hair to look like Charlotte."
Okay.
I was like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
You are? Okay, what does he want? Have you figured it out? Black hair?
No, just less makeup.
Okay.
He likes the fresh face.
I get it. I get it. Wow, that's exciting. Well, okay, so there's obviously a lot going on in your life, but this, for now, is number one.
This is my baby.
Yes. Are you happy with this iteration of Charlotte Flair? Are you happy with where you're at in your career, with what you're doing, the work that you're doing?
I can't say that this title reign has been one of my favorites, because I haven't had an opportunity due to unfortunate, I guess, events to defend the title as many times as I would like. But in terms of when I came back after WrestleMania 37 that I missed and came back as the opportunity, I feel like it's been the most confident my character has been since before. Yeah. It's been like a good 3.5 years, I think.
So a few things. You said due to unfortunate events. What are you referring to?
Well, like Toni Storm in the middle of our storyline, she left. And then there hasn't really been anyone on Smackdown. I had the opportunity to face Naomi in a title match on Smackdown, and I've been wanting to wrestle her for 5 years. So I would have liked to be more of a fighting champion, I think. But my goal is for all of that to be erased once I face Ronda on Saturday.
You mentioned confidence.
Yep.
I was listening to an interview with Paul Heyman recently, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, that he isn't sure that you know just how good you are. Have you heard him say this?
Yeah.
Is he onto something
talk.
there? Oh, he gave you a pep talk.
Yeah.
So he has tried to tell you this.
Yes.
And is he onto something? Do you not know?
Well, you should never walk away and be like, "Oh, that was amazing." Like you can nitpick anything. No, I know I'm really good, but when you know there can be more. And I feel like I grow every single year. Like that's the thing. Like if you watched me back from 32 to now, like if I could go back and redo all of me versus Sasha, like we were such babies. Like I was just like learning the business. Now I'm like, okay, I get all aspects of it. I would love to redo that feud.
So I'm just curious, like when does he take you to the side and say, I need to tell you something. You're a lot better. You're a legend. You need to start believing this. How does that happen?
I've gone to him a few times over the course of my career.
So you went to him or he came to you?
If he says something nice about me in an interview or something, I'll always, God, this was like a couple years ago. I think I was in NXT and Sasha and I had just main evented NXT Jose. He was like, "You're the future." And that stuck with me. And I think I've gone to him twice when I've felt like I wasn't doing a good job and how do I do this? And he was like, "You just don't realize really what you're even delivering because you're so like in your own head."
Do you feel like you're out of that point now? Like, do you believe in yourself now, or do you still think that you're a work in progress?
I believe in myself, but I still think like things could be better.
What would you like to improve?
Like 1 week I'll really like that promo, and the next week I'll be like, "Oh, I didn't like that promo." Like I loved the opportunity promo after Mania. There were a few promos on Raw that I really liked, and then I'll get to there's been a few on SmackDown. I'm like, "Oh, that could have been better."
You missed last year's WrestleMania.
I did.
You were sick, unfortunately. How tough was that for you?
Tough.
Yeah? Did you watch it?
I watched both girls matches.
So you just watched that and that's it? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
To support the girls.
Was it hard to watch? Did you feel left out?
Yeah.
Okay. And what, like the experience of being at, like, I mean, not that long ago, prior to that, you were main eventing.
I think I was just angry that I was out for events that I couldn't control.
Right.
So I think that's why it was like, oh, it's not like I did something stupid or missed TV or wasn't there. It was like just unfortunate events. But now I'm thinking like maybe had those events not happened, I wouldn't be in the position I am to face Ronda. So like it all ended up how it's supposed to be.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Because maybe I came back more hungry.
Mm-hmm. You think so?
And a little different. So I was like, how do I switch it up a little bit? Switched up my robes a little bit. I got in better shape. And I came back a little more unapologetic. And I know that sounds corny, but I wasn't like as scared to hold back on the mic.
Would you prefer being a face or a heel?
Oh, heel.
Why?
Because anytime I try being a face, I think that there's really nothing in the character other than I have a great relationship with my dad, like the father-daughter relationship, that people necessarily can relate to. Like when I come across like, understand me, or this was hard for me, or it just comes across as like whining or complaining. When I'm like, no, I really feel this way, it doesn't come across endearing. So I found like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like, even though I'm trying to open up and be relatable to the audience, I don't think the audience sees it that way. It comes across as entitled when that's not really how it's supposed to be portrayed. So anytime I have tried to do that as a face, I think it just comes across as like a crybaby. Not a cry, but just whining.
I've heard you mention a couple times, you know, when they were chanting for Becky and you're going up against Rhea, that really seemed to bother you. Because you felt, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like you felt like they didn't, or they forgot, or they didn't trust that you can deliver.
No, with the crowd at Money in the Bank, I truly believe I elicit that response from them to do that with Becky because of our history. So I think the crowd was partially doing that because it was me. And then also it didn't help that she'd been gone for how long, a year? Year and a half, and she posted a picture outside the venue. So the fans wanted her. They hadn't seen her. So I was like, F you. You're going to respect Rhea. You're going to respect me. And you're going to watch this match. And it went from those chants to this is awesome.
That must have been a source of pride, right?
I mean...
To turn them in your favor?
But I knew I could.
Right. You quite literally, I think, said F you, right?
Well, no, I did not say it.
No, I mean, the universal symbol. Yeah.
Universal symbol. So that's like, I came back with a little more of an edge. Like 4 years ago, oh my God. Like now I can be more in the moment when I'm in the ring. And I think that matters so much more as a performer. Like you're just going with it and feeling it and going off the audience. Whereas like a couple years ago, I was like, it has to be A, B, C, D. Like now you just go with it. And in that moment when I heard that, it was just, I didn't even like, am I going to get in trouble for this? Which I did.
You did?
Yeah. Yes.
Why not?
What? It was inappropriate. I would not, that is not the right way to handle things, but if you play a bad guy on television, go for it.
I feel like your dad has done that before. No?
I think he would like throw his coat or something.
Okay.
So I just feel like it was like a perfect storm. They wanted to see her, they thought she was there, and it was me.
Did it annoy you that she would post that and that like maybe she doesn't post that, you don't even hear those things, right?
No, I do the same thing.
Okay.
As a performer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the hype. I think anyone in her position would.
Why?
Well, what she means to the WWE universe, and like, is she coming back tonight? Is she not? Like, yeah.
Okay. Because I thought maybe you'd be like, hey, you didn't post that, then no one would be chanting your name tonight.
Well, not necessarily.
Right.
They might have been. It was the first time we'd have a live audience since COVID.
Right.
So they were ready to chant what they wanted.
How's your relationship with her now?
Nothing but respect for what she's done.
Could I ask, you wish things would be different between you guys?
No, she makes me better. Like the competitiveness is awesome. Like when I faced her at Survivor Series, I was like, I'm the better woman. Doesn't matter that I lost. I still walk out Charlotte Flair.
But is it hard to compete when there's that kind of tension? No. You're pros.
Pros. 100%.
You see her now, it's okay? All good? I mean, there's
yeah,
mutual
we're on
respect.
different brands.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I don't know how she feels, but that's how I feel about her.
Do you think at some point you'll be able to like sit down and talk it out and maybe go back to being friends?
Yeah.
Or at least cordial?
Yeah.
You would like that?
Absolutely. Seeing her as a mother and so happy, yeah.
It's a really interesting thing because the build to that fight got like your dad got involved, right? Or fight match. It felt like a real fight. It felt like you guys were going to go out there. So I think the fans got really emotionally invested in it.
Well, I don't control what he does.
Right. Would you have wished that he didn't get involved?
Well, yeah. He's not my voice. He's not my mouthpiece. Yeah. Plus, you can't say anything back if you don't say anything at all. Why give something life when there was none?
Right. Did you talk to him about that? Did you say, hey?
Oh, I've had many talks with my dad.
Okay.
Yes. On many different subjects.
It does feel, though, that you have reached a point, correct me if you feel otherwise, where if you were just Charlotte, like I don't think people, I've heard you say like, oh, you know, when you went to ESPN one time, they had you as Charlotte Flair.
Ric Flair's daughter. They had the Royal Rumble winner, Raw champion, Smackdown champion, Ric Flair's daughter.
Yeah.
And we're walking into the main event of WrestleMania.
I feel, though, that you have moved on from that. You are no longer viewed as Ric Flair's daughter.
But why was I viewed as Ric Flair's daughter that night on ESPN?
Oh, I can't answer for that. But,
exactly.
But I think obviously very famous, maybe the greatest of all time, daughter, people are going to say that, but I think that you have done such a great job of shedding that and just being yourself.
Well, I think it's hard. We've told the
legacy.
audience for 8 years that I'm entitled, that I'm Ric Flair's daughter, that I'm spoiled, all these things. It's hard for people to separate the person and the character.
In retrospect, you wish that you were never Charlotte Flair, that you were just...
No, because I can own it and handle it, and obviously I do well under pressure.
I do remember talking, I had the opportunity to interview your dad once. It was great, and he told me he didn't love when you guys were feuding.
No,
he doesn't. Did you feel the same?
Yeah, because it's not as believable. Like, everyone knows my dad adores me. Mm-hmm. And our history together runs so deep that, like, once it happened at Hell in a... or... Gosh, was I feuding with Sasha when I let him go as my manager?
I believe so.
It was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I slapped him.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't get any higher than that.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So then to, like, go back and forth is kind of, like, that was a huge moment. So anytime now, if you put him against me, it doesn't feel as authentic. Unless he's the good guy and I'm the bad guy.
What was it like for you when he, parted ways with the company? Was it tough for you? Did you feel like you were caught in between?
No, I mean, I think the fans thought I was caught in between. I just want my dad to be happy. He's worked his whole life. Go do you. Just don't mention my name.
You don't want him to talk about you?
No, I mean, I don't want his opinion.
Okay.
Like, he can talk about me, but yeah, Dad, not all the time.
Okay. He's proud of you.
I know. He's so proud. No, he can do whatever he wants. I can handle it.
Does he critique your matches? Does he give you, or only when you ask?
Only when I ask.
Okay. How often do you ask?
Well, I ask Manny more now. So that's
Is he cool with that?
Manny?
No.
My
father,
dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He's okay with Manny being the guy that you ask.
Yeah.
And, there was a period there, your dad no longer, your fiance no longer with the company. How difficult was that for you?
A little difficult at first because I was like, my two best friends are gone. But now I'm just like used to it. Oh, you're gonna make me upset. Hold on.
No problem, no problem. Not my intention.
Oh. Okay. So I got upset. No, like, it sucked because they're my people. Like, they would do anything for me, go to bat. But Manny had to make career decisions, and seeing him do so well is so important. And my dad comes and goes. Like, that wasn't as hard. It's just, it's hard to see like the couples in the back, you know, get to have that time together. And I would do anything to have that with Manny, because like that's how we met, was on the road. But him being happy to me is like what's important. And he knows how much this means to me. It's just making the schedules work, and we'll do anything to make it work. It's just, I don't have that ride or die, you know, from town to town. But before Manny, I was doing it, you know, with Becky. So yeah, I'm only emotional because it's WrestleMania week.
I get it.
But he's come with me to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, great.
So yeah.
Can I ask, what does your tattoo mean? Or what does it represent? A little patience.
A little patience. My little brother passed away in 2013, and his favorite song was Patience from Guns N' Roses. So, got some lyrics.
Is that like a reminder to you of life, to be patient?
To be patient.
Are you an impatient person?
Yes.
In what respect?
Everything's like go, 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 and like I always want to know what's next instead of just like be in the moment. Enjoy the ride. So it's just a reminder.
When did you get that?
A couple months after he passed, so March 29th, 2013, like March, April, like May after.
I did notice on your Instagram, it's the anniversary of his passing, and so that will always coincide with WrestleMania, which I don't need to tell you. Is that really, I mean, I can't even imagine the mix of emotions.
Well, yeah, just because my brother never saw me wrestle, and my dad and mom brought him home from Japan to see me at my first Access, which actually I was going to wrestle Paige when NXT got put on Access for the very first time. Yeah, I think it was it was me, Paige, Tenille, or me, Paige, Emma, Sasha, I think was the group going to Access. So they brought him home to see me, and the day they brought him home, he passed away. So I'm like, he never made it to Mania, you know? So it's always like, maybe that's why Mania is so important to me. Because actually, like every pay-per-view, it's just, the last time we went to a wrestling match together, I think, was when we saw my dad retire at WrestleMania when he wrestled Shawn.
Oh, wow. And you were in the front row.
Yeah. Which I had no idea I was going to be doing this at the time.
Not even a thought in your mind?
Not a thought in my mind.
What did you want to do?
I was a personal trainer.
Right.
I mean, like I thought about it, but I didn't, it's hard to put yourself in that, it's hard to put yourself in those shoes when you don't see yourself that way. Like, I remember seeing Michelle McCool backstage. I was just like, you are the most glamorous woman I've ever seen. Like all the, like Kelly, Trish, Lita, Tori, Stacy Keibler, Beth, Phoenix. It's like, I never saw myself in that. Like I grew up around it, but I didn't see myself as glamorous as them. I was like, yeah, I'm athletic, I can do that, but not like the superstar aspect of it.
Who made you believe that you could be like that?
I think that just kind of, if you watch my earlier videos from FCW, woof, it's been a couple, I've had time to become polished.
Right.
I don't know, I think it was just growing, like, just part of the process, right? But the only reason I started wrestling was to wrestle with my brother. So that same weekend, actually no, not that weekend, I lied. When the 4 Horsemen were inducted into the Hall of Fame, me, my dad, my brother, Johnny Laurinaitis, I think there were a couple of other people there. We're all sitting at dinner, and my dad was trying to get my brother signed with WWE. and was talking to Johnny, and I don't know if my dad and Johnny like set this up, but Johnny like looked at me and was like, "Why aren't you doing this?" And I don't know if it was to make my little brother jealous or to like get him fired up. But I was like, I don't know. And then my brother kept saying, "You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this." And it just kind of like went from there. And maybe it was just a calling, or I wanted to get out of Charlotte, or I don't know, but it was at the same time that Triple H was taking over FCW and turning FCW into NXT. So I think I don't know if I reached out to Johnny like 2 months later, but then eventually talked to Triple H, and then the guy that was hiring the talent for the new product called me. His name was Canyon, and was like, "You're my first hiree, but just know, just because you're Ric Flair's kid doesn't mean you're going to get handouts." And I was like, "Well, I didn't ask for handouts." But ultimately, and he didn't mean that in a bad way. He was just saying like, just, because of this process, don't think that you're going to get special treatment. And I think they were really like, why would she even be doing this? Because I'd never, had talked about it before or been around the business or like anything like that. And I think, and Hunter never said this to me directly, but I think he kind of knew what I was doing. Like, just because you're getting an opportunity doesn't mean your little brother Reed's going to get one. But that was like what I had in the back of my mind. And then I showed up to Tampa in July of 2013, and Reed passed that March.
The following March.
The following March.
So he got to see you. None of it.
None of it.
No, not even like working out or anything.
Well, I was a ring announcer. Weighing in at 230 pounds. One of them, it's on my hand.
Did you enjoy that job?
No. Absolutely not.
Why did they put you in that?
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You had never run the ropes or done anything?
Oh, yeah.
You'd done some of that?
I'd done all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you just weren't like...
And my brother, and my dad went to a place in Charlotte twice.
Okay.
And I hurt my nose. Like the second time, I was like, oh no, I don't want to. Let's just wait till we get to the school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I actually recently saw your debut. There's like an interview with you
and Dusty.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
With
and
Bailey.
You're very. You're shy. You're a shy person.
Yeah.
To do that in front of people, there were people there.
I was mortified. I was like, why am I doing this? I had no idea. I wanted. If you knew how scared I was back then, like, I don't know, but just something just kept pushing me every day. And then when Reed passed, it was just like, I went back to training a week later, and the rest is history. Were
you ever close to quitting?
No.
Never?
Never
doubted yourself?
Never thought about it.
Once you were in, you were in?
Yeah, because I just felt like for the first time I fit in, I belonged. Like, it was weird. Like, I'd been around it my whole life, but never really around it. But, like, being in the ring was so much fun to me. And then I was with, like, an awesome group of girls. So, like, I was so enamored by Paige. Like, she was just so different than anyone I'd ever seen. And I came in with Sasha, and we had all this instant chemistry. And then Bailey, and then Becky, and then I was close to Emma, who's no longer there. It was just an amazing group of girls. Like, what a group, right?
It is an amazing group, and it's amazing to me to hear you say that, like, you didn't dream of this, because the hardcore fans will remember you in WCW and obviously your dad.
But I forgot, like, I did all that stuff.
You forgot?
I had in a recent interview, they were like, "Oh yeah, you did," but unless like someone really, because I just stood there.
Right.
But it was.
You were part of the show to a degree.
To a degree, but like I remember Starrcade '83 Starrcade '93. And they like came to our house and they were like filming, or like, to me, I remember more like certain matches that I sat front row for. But like I had forgotten about, maybe because I was just so young.
How old were you for Starrcade?
6 or 7.
Wow. And what did you think of all? Like, do you remember what you thought of all this? That's your dad. People are going crazy for him.
I think I had a hard time with him bleeding.
Ah,
I think that was. I used to get really upset
right.
when he'd get hurt.
When they did all that stuff with Vince Russo going to your house, making it a little.
I know, like I can remember, but I think I was only in 6th grade.
Right.
Like we had just moved into that house.
Did you not think that was like a little too personal? Like.
I didn't think of it at that. I don't know. I was just like, this is cool.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And even seeing how the show was being made, that was never a part of you. That's like, oh, this is something that I'd like to do one day.
Maybe, I think there was like a couple months my junior year of high school that I was like, oh, I want to do this. But then like I got signed to play volleyball and
right.
it just, the rest.
A lot of the kids you grew up with, boys and stuff, did they try to be your friend just because of who your dad is? Did you feel like people were trying?
No, because I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina with the same kids.
Okay.
Like my whole life. So
they weren't impressed by that?
I mean, my dad was like, not until I got to college was like, oh, this is cool.
Okay.
Like college was eye-opening. But not in, or maybe I just didn't hang out with the kids like that. I don't know.
Was there ever a thought in your mind to go completely away from the robe, the last name, to just be
I only did the robe in WrestleMania 32. Like that was just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I just was like, oh, the fans really seem to like it. So then I just kept doing it. That's why when I came back last year, I really tried to change them up a little bit to make them look a little different.
But even like the song, the music, to go completely away and just be your own entity.
So I didn't come up with that music.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the first music they gave me?
Doesn't ring a bell at the moment.
I liked it.
You liked it? Better than this one?
But then they debuted the
it makes sense.
the recognition
right.
when I wrestled Natty for the NXT TakeOver title. Yeah, I actually thought about that recently. I was like, what if they just gave me new music? Like, what would that look like? But then I'm like, am I past that now? Yeah. Like.
Well, the reason I ask is Braun Breaker, you would think he could be Braun Steiner, right? But they're moving away, they're trying to create a separation there. So I was wondering if there was ever a thought of not calling you Charlotte Flair, just calling you.
Well, I wasn't allowed. I wasn't Charlotte Flair until after I faced Asuka, and Vince was like, "One day, let's add Flair. She can handle it."
Oh,
so
I wasn't. Handle it.
Yeah.
What do you think he meant by that?
It's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
Like that, it wouldn't overpower Charlotte. Like now it's just Charlotte Flair, where people weren't just focused on Flair. And to me, having the two names comes across bigger. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, because then you think Madonna. It's like Madonna, Beyonce. Wait, I don't know what I'm saying.
I agree with what you're saying, though.
But
Charlotte Flair. I mean, there's
like a ring to it. But I don't. He never said this is what I mean by this. But I'm assuming that he thought that I could handle it wouldn't overshadow me.
Mm-hmm. Your dad has the record, 16 world championships. You're very close. Does that mean anything to you? Do you want to break that? Do you want to get 17?
Well, now people keep talking.
I mean, you're
it
right
really
on the doorstep.
did it, and now I'm like, I guess I do. I don't want to think about I think I do just now because I am that close, but I don't want to think I don't want to think about it. But to think that
Why
it
don't
could
you want
be,
to think about it? It adds pressure, or
just that's crazy, insane. I made it this far. I don't know. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll still be up there in title reigns.
For sure. Are there things that you haven't accomplished? I mean, this would be one, but it might not be up to you. Is there something that you haven't done yet that you really want to do? You've done it all.
No, I've done it all. Maybe doing it better. Going back and doing it better.
So considering you feel like you've done it all, want to do it better.
But I don't like go, I've done it all, right? Because you have to still fight. Like, I've done it all, but I don't want it to sound like, oh, you want to go back. Like, you want that, you know, what Becky and I had going into Survivor Series. You want that with other people. Like, that's what this is business, like, is about, is that the good versus bad, or who's bad, who's good, I don't know. Like that, like you want those, you're always looking for that next storyline that just like catches fire. That's what I mean.
To that point, which has been your favorite storyline going into this WrestleMania, excluding yours? Like who do you think has the best story right now?
I don't know, it's hard to say. I guess Brock and Roman, because it's been going on for so long. But then you have Becky versus Bianca, who is coming back from SummerSlam, like goes all the way back to SummerSlam. I don't know. They're completely different.
Do you, especially with the women's matches and feuds, do you find yourself comparing what you got going on to what they like, especially with that one, right? That's the other women's title fight match.
Not as much.
No.
No. Just because the characters are so different. If the characters I felt like were a little similar, which nowadays you don't have that, but maybe. But the four of us are in, like, no one's thinking anyone's similar.
Do you have a dream opponent? If you could pick one person from one era in their prime, super match?
Well, I faced Trish at SummerSlam, so I guess I thought I was going to... Lita.
What were you just going to say there?
Well, no, like, just Lita, I think I'd want to face.
Were you going to say that you thought you were going to get Lita at Elimination Chamber?
Well, no, because I knew I was going to the tag with Sonya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that possible?
I don't know. It might be.
Why her?
But just because of the difference.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'd be her Trish. Not literally her
Sure.
Trish, but just the difference in, like, vibe and character. Like,
Prime Lita against Prime Charlotte.
yeah.
That would be great.
But I'd face Lita now.
Of course. Yeah, you wouldn't turn that down.
Yeah.
So that of the ones available to you, dream match that you've never
And
had.
I think Beth Phoenix would be really good. She'd be next.
That could happen too.
Yeah.
What is
Put it out in the universe.
Let's put it out. Is there something that you wish people knew about you, understood about you, that they don't, that you feel like they don't?
No, because then I'd give the mystique away of Charlotte.
Okay. Do you listen to what they say, the fans, social media? Do you let that get to you?
I'm human.
It's hard to
tune it out.
Isn't it nice to think like back when, 80s, 90s, 70s, they didn't have to deal with any of that. No cell phones, no Twitter, no Instagram. They go out there, do their job, go home.
But it doesn't derail me. Like, I see some of it. I hear some of it. But then at the same time, I'm like, damn, I must be doing my job well. If they hate me that much.
It's a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
I wish you nothing but the best.
Thanks.
Continued success. Congratulations on the date.
Thank you.
Well done. I look forward to the save the date in the mail. Just joking. I'm kidding. Charlotte Flair is returning to action this Saturday, 2 nights, WrestleMania. She is are you officially the main event for Saturday? Because I feel like...
I'm saying I'm the main event.
I don't know. It's like, I feel like they haven't quite said, is it Austin? Is it you?
I honestly have no idea.
We're putting it out there.
Putting out there in the
Main
universe.
event, WrestleMania Saturday, BT Sport box office, Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey for this right here. Thank you so much for doing this. This was great.
You.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.